Hello everyone, welcome to DevOps Master webinar. This webinar is structured in such a way to give a brief introduction of DevOps, key concepts involved, as well as the tools being very popular in the market. At the end, a bit of core structure of DevOps Master itself. Let's get started. This is a webinar agenda. All right, could you please confirm that I'm audible? Yes, thank you very much. I would like to keep the question and answer session. I request you to give the question and answers at the end of the session. So I will keep all the participants in mute. All right. Okay, thank you. So we start with status quo. What is development and operation? What's the problem? How DevOps is a solution? A few key concepts. And at the end we talk about the DevOps Master course by SKILLOGIC. Status quo. In any business, for example, take a banking business. Okay, so let's say there's a bank which has an application, a banking application users are already using, and this bank would like to add a new feature, which is a feature which it allows them to use this application for all kinds of payment purposes, may it be utility, may it be wallet, or all kinds of payments. Right, that's a brilliant idea. Right. To realize this idea, business has to make the documentation of this idea very well, and they'll give it to the development team. It becomes a project for them, and the development team will do the translation from the requirement functional to the technical, to the architecture, to the designing and development, testing, and then they'll deploy in the operations. And of course, while deployment, the operation has to give the deployment release window, and deployment, they resolve the issues, the production issues, and finally it is in operation. From there, operation team will take care of managing this application, right, in terms of fixing the bugs, taking IT security, and solving or clarifying any requests on this particular app from the end user, maintain the data, etc., etc. So the entire operational management of the application comes under operation team. Right, and any improvements, suggestions they find from this particular usage from the customers or from the internal team, they'll pass it on back to the business, and from there they might actually initiate a new release or new improved application in the same manner. This is the standard structure of how do you design, how do you get a new changes into the business, especially major changes to the business. Great, but when you talk about dev includes a lot many people, including software developers and architects, business representatives, quality assurance managers, project managers, suppliers. When I say suppliers, IT suppliers, etc. And dev in general are considered as a bit more uh, important resources, because development and the skill set required is perceived to be a little higher, and they really work on they're creating the new applications, so they are more skilled employees. That's the perception. All right, and when it comes to the operation, the people are involved in delivering the solution to the end user by maintaining the applications data, handling the request tickets, solving doubts, clarifications, everything, right, from the information security professionals, system engineers, system administrators, IT operators, release managers, DBAs, network engineers, support professionals, etc. Okay, this belongs to operation. Operations typically works in 24 hours in shifts, and that's the operation. Anything goes wrong in stability, availability, or any bugs, it is the operation who is going to take the load of this particular application. Okay, then what's the problem? Well, one of the biggest problem is non-alignment. Basically, your business might get a brilliant ideas, and they want to push it as quick as to the market, but when they do it, they should have a capable development team aligned with the speed of the business, how fast they want to invent new ideas, how fast they want to bring it to the market. Right, that's one alignment. And second, even though the development develops the solutions, the operation should be able to adapt it and serve it to the customer. So if it were put in a simple manner, if the business has four ideas to implement, the development should be capable of delivering this or developing these four ideas, and ops or operations should be capable of delivering these four ideas to the end customers. Right. One of the biggest concerns is the non-alignment. So it happens that there is always a bottleneck either in development or operations or the collaboration between development and operation, which slows down this process. And we have other problems. One of the major problems you encounter while moving a particular development application from the test to the production environment, we have this phenomena called it works in the test environment, but it fails in the production. And it's really really a big problem, because after we move into the production, your operation is disturbed because it fails in the production. Then a lot of applications are affected, most probably dependencies are affected, there's a downtime, there's a reliability issue, and operation people are handling the issues, trying to rework it or roll it back, and also helping the customers who are affected by this failure in moving a new piece of code into the production. That's a big issue, and that actually triggers a lot of trust issues between development and operation, because operation guys don't trust developers anymore because they disturb the production environment. And if they have a failed product feature or piece of code coming to the production, there's a immense significant work for the operations to handle it, roll it back, and get it to the even the previous state. It takes a lot of time. There are other problems like code integration complexity. So if many developers are working in a development environment to develop a piece of code, it becomes a bit complex to make them work together. So if they all isolatedly develop a piece of code and try to integrate, the integration becomes a huge task, right? There's sometimes you have to, the code are not aligned, there are some duplicates or conflicts in the code. That is code integration complexity. Configuration mismatch, dependency issues, which also causes the problem when you're shifting from development to the test, from test to the production. These are few problems which are frequently surface when you're trying to move a development to test and test to production. Over that, we are what we call it as wall of confusion, right? If you look at the targets or the objectives of the development team, their work is to develop a piece of code and move it to the production and with the target. So if there is a 5-6 requirements coming as development requirements, they want to develop it and move it to the production as quick as possible. So developers actually want change because they are doing some new development, new feature, or new application, and they want to push it to the production. So they want change. Whereas the other side, operation, their target is to keep the system stable, right? Systems always available, applications have less problems, no downtime, reliable, right? And they work on ticketing basis. They have their own SLAs, which is service level agreements, to meet. So when a piece of code moves to the production, it might disturb the entire production environment. If it fails, it's even more problem because you have to roll it back. There will be definitely some downtime, some issues, some dependencies be not working, some reliability issues that causes problems for operation. So that it's kind of conflicting. Development wants change, but operation wants stability, because that is how their roles are structured, right? If you want them to collaborate, and that actually causes a wall of confusion, which basically they have a conflicting objectives. And if you want to move into more collaborative environment, which DevOps says, then there should be a change in their objectives, alignment in their objectives in such a way that the development and operation, the piece of code moves smoothly to the production, and they have targets. In fact, there are certain practices where you actually have some development people working in operations with the operation team, and vice versa, which decreases the wall of confusion, increases the trust, and also it increases collaboration. This is one of the practices of DevOps which is popular when you're trying to move towards DevOps practices. I hope the wall of confusion is clear. Right. Moving to the next, DevOps is the solution, because DevOps, it's not a tool. It's not is a software or a tool. It is not a framework. It's in fact a complete culture change. So if you want to define the DevOps, it can be defined as a cultural and professional movement that stresses on communication, collaboration, and integration between software developers and IT professionals, while automating the process of software delivery and infrastructure changes. It aims at establishing a culture and environment where building, testing, and releasing software can happen rapidly, frequently, more reliably. If we can achieve that, then most of the problems we encounter in today's environment in terms of a business idea getting developed and moving to the production can be much better and can be improved in a way that we can have more rapid, frequent releases and more reliable and stable operations as well. Both can be achieved by using DevOps practices. DevOps has certain values, like automation is at the core of DevOps, may it be a code or testing automation or UAT automation, the deployment automation, the release automation. All sorts of automations plays a very crucial role in DevOps. DevOps also practices or works with the lean concepts with reducing anything which is not required in this delivery process. Measurement is a key because until you can't measure, you cannot improve, as it says. So, measurement at every level of the software development and delivery is one of the key values of DevOps. Sharing, the knowledge sharing between development and operation team to work as one team is also crucial to achieve the DevOps practices. And DevOps has sharing as one of the core value, and there are best practices how can we realize this sharing between development and practices in DevOps. And together, ultimately, it comes down to culture. So DevOps practices promotes a collaborative culture, a oneness culture, where all your business, especially development and operation team, work together in delivering the solution fastest and more efficient way possible. There are other practices which were existing practices of continuous integration. And what do you mean by continuous integration? Well, if there are many developers working on a code, if they all work isolatedly and try to integrate at some point, like kind of like a release or merger, it becomes a huge task of trying to solve the conflicting codes and trying to merge. Rather than that, a continuous integration suggests that whatever small piece of code every developer does, you should be having a system to push it to one development branch, or you continuously merge it, right? So any small piece of code, before you push it, you pull from the main branch and you to solve it by yourself as a developer and push it. And a continuous merging of the code or integration of the code actually avoids or completely takes care of the code integration problem at one stage, because if you don't do the continuous integration at some point of time when you are merging all the codes, it becomes a huge task. But if you continuously integrate, any small conflicts can be resolved at then and there, and that finally gives you a very smooth code integration process, and that we call it as continuous integration. There are tools to achieve it, and Git is one of the very popular tool. GitHub or internal private Git repository, which can be the cloud repository which can be set up. That gives you the power, the tool to have to realize the continuous integration concept. We have continuous delivery, which talks about from the time a developer commits a code release till the release actually releases the code in the production and it's visible to the customer. Everything can be automated in between the test and the staging and the production and the release, right? And everywhere it is being monitored for fail or success. Anywhere it fails, right, it immediately goes back with all the information to the corresponding developer or the development team. They fix and they deploy it, and this complete chain is called as continuous delivery chain. DevOps practice as one of the key concept is continuous delivery, and if you can achieve this, most of the problems in moving the code from development to release is kind of automated, and that gives you a rapid release speed, and also the rollback if something goes wrong can also be automated, and that comes as part of your continuous delivery. Continuous integration, continuous delivery ecosystem has a lot of tools to realize the DevOps concepts, and they're basically considered in phases, like code commit, code Git is more as a leader, but we also have many other softwares in the domain. Build and config. Maven works really good. Docker, the concept of Docker containerization is one of the popular techniques. Docker basically, the concept of containerization, it creates a container or which contains the operating system, a lightweight operating system, all the dependent libraries, and the piece of code. So rather than shipping a piece of code, you ship the entire container, and that kind of removes all the complexities involved in dependencies and the problems we have seen before, like the code works in test environment, it does not work in development environment. That problem will completely go off because you're not just shifting the code, you're shifting the entire container, right? So when we talk about DevOps, Docker is a separate course in the tool chain. We go very detailed in it, and also we deploy into stuff. We also have Chef, Puppet, Ansible, which comes under configuration management. These tools help us to keep the same configuration for development, test, and production. So there is no conflict, there is no problem with the versions, different versions, dependencies, everything is controlled from a central location for all the systems from the development test till the production systems. Right? You might have hundreds of systems in production in a row. So all the systems can be controlled by using configuration management. So these are the popular tools in configuration management. For build, Maven is popular. For containerization, Docker is popular. For configuration management, Puppet and Chef are popular. Ansible is lightweight version, and it's also becoming very popular nowadays because most companies prefer Ansible because it's simple and lightweight. Automated testing is a key part of it, and you have Selenium, you have Cucumber, JUnit Test, and many other softwares available to do the test, entire end-to-end automation test. That becomes a core part of your continuous delivery because once the code is committed and built, it should be tested automatically. And once it is successfully tested, it moves on to release. We have a couple of release softwares, and then to deployment. AWS and even Docker comes into deployment. Jenkins, which is sitting at the top of this continuous integration, this controls the entire pipeline. So it keeps on monitoring and watching. It's called as orchestration of DevOps tools. So it watching the code. When someone commits the code, it can configure to automatically build it, test it, release, and deploy. If something goes wrong, Jenkins gives a feedback with the failed test results, and accordingly the corresponding team can work and fix it. And this is an ecosystem. We have thousands of, actually hundreds and thousands of applications which falls under DevOps ecosystem. Few are very popular and highly used. I would say 80 to 80% of the market uses a few tools in various phases. And these tools are discussed as a part of DevOps tool chain expert course in SKILLOGIC. So at the end, what are the benefits we get? Well, from the delivery process, there are improvement in terms of like smaller, more frequent releases can be achieved rather than having a release in once in 2 months or 3 months. We can have, for example, every day release or every fortnightly releases, or weekly releases. That's more based on the business. You can have a smaller releases and more frequent. That is less risky. That's actually the second point. It reduces the effort and less risky. It reduces the cost of product iterations and delays. If something goes wrong and the feedback loop and rolling back takes a lot of time. The DevOps improves this, reducing the cost of product iterations and delays. It improves the culture of communication collaboration, which also creates a more happy environment, more collaborative, more trustable teams, which ultimately results in a higher productivity and smoother transitions of softwares. Consistency and speed through automation is very core. Automation is the core of DevOps, and all the tools we have seen in the previous slide helps in achieving this automation. From a business perspective, your overall business will become agile. So the time to market for a new products, new ideas, new features are very much reduced. That increases your competitiveness in the market. Integration with the business, all the business development and ops goes hand in hand, and it is tightly integrated, and it actually gives you such a great cadence, we call it cadence, which is a kind of rhythm a business has and the development operation, which makes the company as more agile and more faster to the market, right? Very responsive, and the code and deployment quality will increase drastically. due to the collaboration, communication increase, and frequent releases. Productivity and visibility increases. It also increases the trust and confidence within the team, and also the confidence of the company to deliver new solutions, new products, and overall agility, of course, because all these are interrelated. These are the improvements from a business perspective, which ultimately makes the business win, because as you can realize, as you can imagine, the speed to market is a key for business strategy. If you get an idea and you take ages to release in the market, you're already lagging behind. The strategic advantage can be achieved by having a time to market for new ideas. So ultimately, the business success can be achieved by using the best practice DevOps best practices. Roles in DevOps. These are the roles as per the industry practices. We have DevOps evangelists, senior executives responsible for DevOps practice within a division. DevOps architect, responsible for DevOps pipeline orchestration and implementation, who takes care of the entire DevOps end-to-end design, the architecture of the DevOps solution, the DevOps practice. DevOps release manager, responsible for releases stability of the system, also ensures that DevOps principles are practiced in delivery management. DevOps engineer, both developers and testing, are equipped with the DevOps knowledge. They create a collaborative and trustable environment to exchange the information, to share the information, make the practice of development and testing and deployment and the production management more smoother. DevOps tools engineer are responsible for tools deployment, configuration, automation. They will be they have a high level knowledge, or they have a good knowledge of the fundamentals of the DevOps practices, and they are experts in tool management. Like all the tools we have seen, the popular tools, DevOps tools engineer will be masters of it in terms of deploying, configuring, automation, and any tool related problem or change in the architect in DevOps practice will be handled by these tool experts. IT security professional monitors and ensures the product security and health. Quality assurance manager ensures the quality of the product meets the meets while the process DevOps process. And these are the people who are also very important, the quality assurance. At the initial stages of DevOps practices, when we are transitioning to DevOps, there will be a lot of quality issues, because there will be a lot of confusion. There are new roles, and most people even think that DevOps is a new role, but it's actually maybe a transient role, but it's DevOps is a practice. So your existing team will be uplifted to a new way of working. So that's what the DevOps is. DevOps is not a separate team which kind of again makes the things faster. So that's not the idea. There are a lot of confusions which could turn into quality issues, like product not meeting the requirements, and the quality assurance initially has a major role to play in order to get the DevOps practice more correct in the initial stages of DevOps transition. All right, and that brings us to the DevOps Master certification course. I would say this is the most comprehensive course in the market, because it's a combination. It's a combo of all these courses, which is DevOps Associate, DevOps Architect, and DevOps Tools Expert. DevOps Associate focus on DevOps introduction, DevOps principles, benefits to the business, DevOps key practices, continuous integration and delivery, continuous delivery in more detail, automation, knowledge about DevOps pipeline, and the practical application of DevOps, all the examples related. So this is a foundational level course or entrance level course, which is applicable for most of the professionals in DevOps roles. All the developers and testers can take this course. Project managers, program managers can take this course. Decision makers, management people can take this course, or any DevOps enthusiasts who are interested in DevOps practice can take this course. So this course can be pursued by all of these professionals. This course also becomes a prerequisite for your second course, which is DevOps Architect. It's a more senior level course where it focuses on designing continuous delivery architecture, automating the process with the right tool, and defining the critical success factor. These are the measurement which is needed for transitioning. And how are you benefiting from the DevOps practices? Right measurement is a key for successful DevOps implementation. Implementing and streamlining DevOps practices, creating DevOps collaboration environment, setting up the continuous build environment, all these things, including monitoring the new practices and adjusting accordingly, is the responsibility of DevOps Architect. And this course covers all these topics in more detail. Who can pursue this course? Professionals in DevOps roles aspiring to take a senior positions can pursue DevOps Architect. Delivery managers, IT architects, senior IT professionals aspiring to switch to DevOps career, all these professionals can pursue this course. And finally, the third one is DevOps Tools expert. Right? DevOps tools, hundreds of tools, but there are certain tools which is being used very ubiquitously in the market. Like 85% of the market deployment happens through these tools. And in fact, if you have a new tool which is kind of a competitor, or it's a parallel to this one, it's very easy to migrate because the concepts and everything is remains the same. So even if you're trying a new tool, it will be very easy to migrate to the new tool. So this particular course covers code management and automation with Git, automated testing with Selenium or JUnit based on the requirement. Container technology, Docker is the leader, right? We also have a Kubernetes which is touched across, along with the Docker, which is used for containerization orchestration, orchestration, continuous integration with Jenkins, configuration management with Puppet and Ansible, monitoring with Nagios, and of course at the end we have end-to-end continuous delivery project with tools deployment. The beauty of this course, most of these things are done hands-on by every candidate, right? So typically what we do is we use every candidate who is participating in this course will spin off their own servers in Amazon cloud services, because Amazon has a free tier which is free for about 1 year. So most people can simply go in and spin off their own cloud servers, deploy the applications. It's called as EC2, Elastic Cluster. Okay, it's pretty easy to spin off a new instance like this. There have been already some tutorials being done. It's a launch new instance. Take any instance, it comes under free tier. So it's a free tier eligible, as you can see. All right, so it doesn't cost you anything, right? And you simply go for the right one, T2 Micro free tier eligible. That's very whoever is the trainer will help you to set up your own Amazon account. We just need a username and password and email and a card. No cost, but you still need a card to enroll it. And security groups, let me see which security groups it's been existing. Okay, so it's a wide open, something like this, because we are doing a demo, so we can keep it open. Move to the launch. Key pair, we already have DevOps April 2019 key pair. Let me use it. I simply say acknowledge and say okay. And you can see that a new instance being launched. We can call it as, let's say, Docker tutorial or something like this, Docker DevOps Tut. And it takes a few seconds to, not even a minute, it's like 15-20 seconds, your server should be ready. It's pretty fast. So the server is ready, up and running, and this is your public IP. You can take that, right, and go to your terminal and you can simply connect to this one by, no, I'm not using this nowadays. Okay, so okay, so let me just type it down, SSH, okay, and you say -i, and you can simply give the path of the key. So downloads, and let me check. You have DevOps key. No, not this. Let me check. Downloads, and so I'm looking for PEM key. So I can type in PEM. Okay, I said .pem. In downloads. All right, so DevOps April key. Just a Get created. Okay, something. Oh, this one. DevOps April 2019. Okay, so DevOps Ops April 2019.pam, and I say EC2 user, that's a username, at whatever I copied the IP number. It directly asks if I want to log in, and it's permanently added it. I am right in the Amazon server now. So I'm right in the Amazon server. I can clear it off. Look at the files. Where am I? Okay, I'm in the EC2 user, and I can assume a super user right away, saying sudo su. I'm a root, as you can see now. I can quickly, this is a Linux Amazon AMI, so it's more CentOS, so I can use yum install docker. It takes very less time to install because it's Amazon server connected to a very high speed internet. So any software we're going to use, Docker, Puppet, Chef, happens in really no time. And then you can see now Docker should be already installed, and you can look at Docker images pull. So we start configuring the Docker from here, and we try to execute few use cases, go through most of the key commands in the Docker. In the similar manner, every candidate who is attending this session will be doing in their own systems, and then the trainer, if I'm the trainer or whoever the tools trainer is, will be helping you to achieve the installation, configuration, and use case of every single tool which is in the syllabus. This is one of the key aspect of this particular tools course, which is way different from anything in the market, because most people do it in a local servers or local machines, virtual machines. But this is production ready. If you can play with the Amazon cloud server, install it, configure it in a public IP, you are production ready. You can simply do it in your company in very less time because you're already doing it in Amazon cloud server. And we do this for every single tool, including Jenkins, Docker, Puppet, Ansible, Nagios, automated testing tool, whatever it is, Git. And at the end, it becomes really easy for you to integrate all these tools together to create the continuous delivery project. And that makes this particular tools expert course a very powerful tool because you have a skills ready to the market. Who can do this course? Well, anyone who is technically oriented and they want to assume a DevOps role is well qualified for this. IT solution architect who are already into architecture and want to know more technical aspects of every single tool, because they're one of the roles of DevOps architecture or IT solution architecture architects is to choose the right tool. You can choose the right tool if you know how it works, and if you have a hands-on experience that enhances your skills to choose the right tools, and because you also know the technical aspect of the tools. Release managers and the DevOps tools enthusiasts, all these professionals can pursue this course. Okay, so this is your the overview of your DevOps Master certification. And DevOps Master is the most comprehensive course in the industry covering fundamentals, key concepts, architectural consideration, deploying popular tools, enabling candidates to get end-to-end knowledge on DevOps practice. The syllabus as it is there has been repeated over here. And at the end, we also have this end-to-end tools project as I explained before. Coming to duration, DevOps Associate and Architect are 2 days full-time classroom training, 8 hours a day, or 5-day live instructor-led training. Whereas the tool training often happens in live instructor-led mode. 18 days to 1 month is the normal timing. And the people in certain areas, in certain cities, we also have a classrooms being conducted as a backup or the revision. So if someone is stuck with some of the tools implementation, they can come to the revision sessions happens in physical classroom setup to get it solved. So combining this DevOps Associate, DevOps Architect, and DevOps Tools Expert brings you a very end-to-end knowledge, and you will be awarded DevOps Master certification on this course completion. All right, that's all this webinar. I'm open to question and answers. Please go ahead and unmute your mics and you can ask questions.
I would like to thank you for the webinar. It is very informative. My question is, what are the jobs for a DevOps in the market?
All right, thank you very much. So the question is, What kind of job roles in the market which requires? Well, if you look at it, most of the development and operation roles are now demanding DevOps certification, and most of the organizations, as per the latest survey in 2018, 70% of the organizations are already adapting DevOps practices. So, to answer your question, most of the roles in technical, including development, testing, quality assurance, architect, project managers, all requires DevOps exposure. And of course, if you're targeting DevOps Master, you have a complete end-to-end knowledge on DevOps from the tools to architecture. It'll be very valuable resource for many different roles. The roles I already have it in one of the slides. You can go back and check all the roles which is relevant for the DevOps practices. This is very valuable. So if you are a technical person, like you are a system admin or a developer, you could simply opt for DevOps. Is that answer your question? All right, thank you very much. Next question, please.
I'm in software testing. Will this course help me in the career?
Yes, absolutely. Software testing is one of the most important aspect of DevOps practice, and there's a huge demand for testing professionals in the market. So I would say most of the software testing will slowly move on to DevOps testing practice. So it's definitely help your career as tester. So you should pursue DevOps practice, DevOps course, especially from a testing perspective.
Not good at coding. Should I learn coding before joining this course?
Well, as a part of this course, we also have a primer course in Linux which talks about the Linux basics and few commands. I can ensure you that most people attending this course, almost 50% have absolutely no idea about the Linux or the Linux scripting. Easily learn because it's a few commands you need and a few basic key concepts to understand how the system works. And I don't find it difficult. So if you have a bit of technical knowledge, that's good enough. And rest of the things is covered in the sessions itself. So the short answer is yes, you can easily learn and do all the DevOps tool implementation as a part of this course, and you should not have any problem with that. Okay, thank you. My pleasure.
Hello, good evening. I'm working more on delivery management, not into coding or technical things. Will this course suit my profile?
Right. Right. I think I already answered this question. A senior executives, senior members, like people who have 10 plus years experience, 15 years, can also attend this course because this course gives you a complete exposure from architecture, high level perspective, as well as the tool. And you may not be doing the tool implementation yourself, but knowledge of this will really help you in make a right strategic decisions while migrating towards the DevOps practices. So yes, it's also for the senior executives. That's correct. Thank you.
Cost for this certification course, including all, I mean DevOps Master.
All right. The fees I have less idea. There are of course a lot of discounts, and I know that this particular course is coming up with a um, very nice price tag as a combo if you take it because SkillLogic is promoting this course worldwide, so you should be able to get a very good price. And the details of the price will be shared by the SkillLogic team, relationship team, very shortly after this webinar. If you want to give a rough idea, it might cost you about 35K in Indian rupees and 500, 400 to $500 in US dollars. All right, thank you very much.
Do you have any job assistance for this course?
Okay, so job requirements. So SkillLogic as a company, we get a lot of requirements globally in India and US, and some of them are in DevOps section. So there is a cell called as placement assistance cell, which actually sends the updates of the jobs, whatever jobs we get it, and it is sent to you, and you can go ahead and apply. So we do have a job assistance, but there is nothing called as job guarantee or anything in that sort. But we get a job updates, we pass it on to you, and we also have a resume support and related. Yes, it's included in the package, of course. It comes as a complimentary services. Yes, thank you very much. Any more questions? All right. So any further questions, you can reach SKILLOGIC Relationship Manager, or you can simply go to the website www.skilllogic.com, or you can type it into Google and you can leave a message, and someone will get back to you as quick as possible with the answer. Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So I'm happy that it's very helpful. All right. And it's just a brief session, so I just covered things in a high level, and I'll be more than happy to walk you through the entire detailed DevOps world with the real-time examples and hands-on practice in real sessions. All right. I wish you a great day ahead. Thank you for joining this webinar. Yeah. Wish you very best in your career. Thank you. I'm closing the session. Thank you very much.